Hi folks, it's Ela, and today we are going to address drawing. Specifically, how do you draw something so it looks the way it is in real life? So, you can feel free to draw cartoons. Cartoons are fine. Drawing blobby shapes like the lemons are fine. But if you want to learn how to draw something more complicated, like here's a little unfinished landscape where I've got perspective and layers and all sorts of stuff going on. This would be really intimidating if you didn't know how to draw at all. So how do you get over that hump? What is happening in your brains? How do you learn how to actually draw things the way that they look in real life? Well, these are two books that I recommend. This one in particular, but this is the original resource, Nicoletti's The Natural Way to Draw. This book, both of these books contain an exercise called contour drawing, specifically blind contour drawing. That's what you start with. And this exercise basically focuses on teaching you how to shift your brain into the right hemisphere, or the more kind of abstract part of your brain. It's nonverbal. It can really see what is happening in the world. This is a very early edition. This book no longer looks like this on the cover. But how to shift your brain into this sort of nonverbal part of that really sees and can draw things accurately and doesn't just jump to symbols. So, most of us really like symbols. That's how most people, if you ask someone to draw a flower, you could put a real flower in front of them, but they wouldn't know what to do. If you ask them to draw a flower, they'd probably draw a daisy. It would look kind of like this. We all know this symbol. We've all made it a million times. But, that's, if you don't have a daisy, if you have an orchid or a rose, or even if you turn the daisy at an angle, suddenly you don't know how to get that sort of appearance anymore. You only know how to do this. So learning how to draw, learning how to see what's really there, it's a bit more, it's about actually seeing. So I'm going to demonstrate how to do this exercise, this blind contour drawing exercise. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this in the air, and you can do this too. I'm literally just going to put my hand out in an odd way, right? This would be a difficult position to draw. I've got the paper behind me just to make it really clear what's happening. And in the air, you can do this too. You might want to close one eye so that you only have the perspective from one eye. And I'm holding my pen in the air above my hand, and I'm literally tracing the shape of my hand with the tip of my pen. It's like I'm touching my hand with my pen, but I'm not. It's in the air. It's just levitating, and I'm looking down and I'm seeing it. And I'm oh, look, I can do all of these shapes. This is not something I could do if I didn't look at my hand. Here, I'm going to get these little fingers in here. Right, I got all that detail just in a few seconds. So there we go, literally tracing it in the air. That's something, it's like, you're training your brain to look at your hand differently and really see what's going on. Now, we're going to actually do the blind contour drawing exercise. I'm going to put my paper way off to the right, and I'm going to put my hand way off here on the left. And when you do this at home, you're going to really spread your hands out far apart, because you don't want to look at your paper when you draw. You're going to pretend that your pen is tracing around just like before, like it's touching. Your eye is going to be following around the edge of your hand, and your hand with the pen is going to be moving with your eye together, just like we did before. But instead of having it floating in the air, my pen is over here way off to the right, and it's making those same movements as before, but it's doing it on the paper. I am not allowed to look at the paper. I am only looking at my hand with my eye tracing around my hand. Does that make sense? People get really confused when I explain this to them the first time. So I'm going to look at my hand over here. I'm going to draw over here without looking at this. And you'll be able to see what my hand is doing here, but I can't, all right? So here we go. I'm going to do this right now. And I'm not going to lift my pen. My pen has to stay in contact with the paper. I got myself in a bind because I didn't do those fingers. I'm lifting up my pen. Oh, bad teacher. So there's my finished product. And it looks really weird, but you can kind of see how my hand like this and this are related. You can see that there's a relationship. This doesn't look anything like our typical hand symbol, right? This is what we all want to draw. But my hand is doing something very different. And you can see that I'm able to kind of get, okay, what's happening in here? So, the first time you do this, I don't know how many times you do this, you're going to be really uncomfortable with your results. You're going to go, that looks weird. That looks weird. Why am I doing this? Because you're training your brain to see and focus on the object that you're drawing, and you're slowing down your brain, and you're going through that whole process of looking at every part and having your hand move with your eye. And believe it or not, if you do this enough, eventually you will become better and better, more and more comfortable, more used to looking, really, really looking at what actually is in front of you, and moving your pen with your eye and capturing that information. And eventually you will get to a point where you can actually look down and draw with your hand close to your picture and have it, actually really look like whatever's in front of you. But the problem with that is you're going to want to jump to your old symbols. So you need to practice this blind drawing enough times that when you go in there and actually let yourself look, here I go, I'm going to let myself look. So I can already see I missed a little. This little tip of this here. Yeah. I can do this now because I've been practicing this so many times. I can draw an odd angle and have it look like my hand. Right? That's pretty good because I've done this a bunch of times, slowed down, and I know how to actually follow this with my pen. But you have to keep them separate for a while just to keep that editor brain from going, that's not the symbol. I hope that makes some kind of sense. I know this is a weird thing to grasp, but I swear it really works. This is how I learned how to draw. This is the main exercise that taught me how to draw. All right. Good luck. Give it a try.